Hustling, charming, and cheating his way to success. That's how Mikey, the protagonist of Red Rocket, gets by after years in the adult entertainment business. The director of this film, Sean Baker, has an eye for the grubbier side of the American dream. He wowed the critics here in Cannes in 2017 with The Florida Project, screening in the Directors Fortnight. Now he's back with a film competing for the Palme d'Or, and we went to meet him. Sean Baker, hello. Thanks for being with us today.
Oh, thank you. It's great being here.
Your film, Red Rocket, is showing in competition here at Cannes, and the central character, Mikey, is someone who seems to get by on a mixture of wit, charm, and persuasion. And I wondered what he represents in terms of dependence and even exploitation in his relationships.
The theme of exploitation is something that I'm definitely tackling with this. For what he does for his livelihood, he essentially has to use those traits that you just mentioned in order to get what he wants. It all stems back to actually some archetypes that I met while doing research in the adult film world, and they all seem to have those exact characteristics. And it's what basically got them where they are. You know, they have to basically live off of the women in the adult film industry. So they have to win them over with charm, with appeal. And I think they actually believe it all themselves. They believe their own hype. They're literally in major self-denial. But they're always, you know, in their head, they're the king of the castle. In their head, they are the champions. So that's what makes this character so interesting in my eyes. And the fact that Simon was able to just really I feel, pull this off like no other actor could. He completely rides that line and strikes that balance where, yeah, we're looking at him and he's doing some pretty unethical things and he's pretty disgusting. Well, you know, I'm not gonna, that's up to the audience to make that judgment, but he's also extremely appealing and funny, and we're with him, hopefully, the audience is with him throughout the entire ride, no matter what.
God damn it.
I don't want to be here, all right? This is embarrassing.
Well, I don't want you
here. You think I want to show up
either.
like this? I got my ass f***ing kicked. I just need a place to crash. Why can't you be
You're
cool?
not
Just
what does it look like, a hotel?
Really? It's like that?
Can you get off the property, please?
Why? What are you going to f***ing do? Really?
What, you want, you want me to call the cops? I'll call the cops.
Don't.
No, I'm calling the cops. 9, 8, 7, faster.
I'm technically off the property, so you can't call the cops because I'm on public land, respecting your boundaries.
Can you keep it down?
Can you come over here so I don't have to project my voice, please?
I believe you made this film last year in October and November, so during the pandemic.
Yes.
I wonder how that affected the shoot. Was it very complicated?
Well, every film shoot feels like a miracle that it's actually completed, if it's completed. Every film has disasters. Every film is the hardest thing in the world. Well, COVID makes it 10 times harder. So yes, COVID compliance, which was obviously very necessary. Yeah, it did pose a lot of issues. I had literally 2 false positives, which put us behind by months. But it was something we obviously had to deal with in a responsible way, and thank God nobody got sick. We were a small pod, which is wonderful. It was a smaller film, and so it allowed us to have a safe pod that basically just went ahead and made this film in this small town in Texas. The one thing I do want to mention, though, is that this film came about because of COVID. It wasn't supposed to be the film I made as the follow-up to Florida Project. I was actually in development on another film up in Vancouver for over 2 years of like entrenched development, and COVID happened. We happened to be in the States when it kicked in, and the border closed in Canada, and we realized that film is not being made anytime soon. And so we cried for about a month, and then we pivoted and took this idea off the back burner that had been sitting there for a while. And we said, you know, we can make this. We can actually do this. And so, yeah.
Now, Red Rocket zooms in on an alternative view of America, let's say, the margins of a society that's often viewed from the outside as very powerful, very wealthy, and we do glimpse the political context in your film with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton campaigning, I believe, in the 2016 election. Donald Trump's someone who pledged to work for those forgotten Americans. How do you see the results of that promise?
Well, I don't want to actually comment on that. That's a political thing, and my own politics isn't important here. I think, but the reason I did choose 2016 is because I think that no matter what side of the aisle you were on, I don't think we were expecting Donald Trump. I think it was a very big surprise. So I think that showing this time in history just before we all had a major twist thrown into our lives was a really interesting time to study, and time to study what may have led to the Trump administration. And I don't want to point at any exact reasons, but I think I'm showing the environment. I'm showing the current climate.
In 2017, your film, The Florida Project, screened here in Cannes in the Directors Fortnight, and it really created a massive buzz at the festival, an unexpected gem. Many people named it their favorite film. Did you know when you were shooting it that you had something very special, and why do you think it resonated with people so much?
Well, for me, I'm not speaking for all directors, but for me, you think you've just made the film that will end your career, so no. But I think it was also just the universality of just childhood. We've all experienced childhood, and I think it was, people were longing for that for some weird reason, and it allowed us to sort of relive our, childhood moments through the eyes of Mooney, and
Let's go, come on.
And perhaps it was also the issues that were being brought up about hidden homelessness. I think it struck a chord, especially for Americans, that this was existing, and nobody knew about it. There was very little news coverage on it. It was a very special moment for us, though, because we weren't expecting the love that it has gotten, and we continue to receive.
The man who lives in here gets arrested a lot. These are the rooms we're not supposed to go in. But let's go anyway. Could you give us some change, please? The doctor said we have asthma and we gotta eat ice cream right away.
Here you go. Now, Simon Rex, the leading character in Red Rocket, is a familiar face. He has a television career behind him, but you often work with non-professional actors. And I wonder if that doesn't feed into the kind of American dream mythology that you might be walking down the street and then overnight you become a movie star.
Actually, no. I think people perceive my work to be all non-professionals, but that's not true. It's always a mix. I mean, it's with Florida. It was, Willem and a handful of seasoned professional actors mixed with first-timers. And that's the same with this film. This film, my three leads are all professional, trained actors. And then all my supporting cast are essentially first-timers. And it's that combo that works there. But even with one of my leads, it was a walking down the street moment. I do my own casting, and Susie was essentially a street cast. We were at the ArcLight in Hollywood. This is like a classic cinema story because it happened in a cinema. We had just seen a film, Samantha Kwan, my wife and I, and who is one of the producers on the film, and we saw Susie enter the ArcLight in the lobby, and both of our eyes just went right to her. She had that aura, she had that thing, the it factor, because she got our attention from 30 feet away, and we said we have to go up to her. This was 2 years ago. We were not thinking about Red Rocket yet. So we went up to her and we introduced ourselves and we said, look, we street cast, we have nothing right now, but let's get our information and we'll keep in touch. Red Rocket came up, we called her. And she said, I've been waiting for your call for 2 years. So even with professional actors, there's still sometimes that element of street casting.
Wow. Now, during the pandemic, we saw a lot of cultural institutions shuttered. A lot of things have suffered during this crazy time.
Yes.
For cinema specifically, what do you think the recovery will consist of?
Well, it's going to be slow like everything else, but I'm optimistic. I'm I've been doing my best to get people excited about going back to the theater and back to the cinemas. Every time I go, I post a ticket stub on one of my social. The U.S. has been open up for a little while now, and I've been, even with general public screenings of mainstream films, you get applause in the beginning of the movie, which is so wonderful. It makes me feel good, and it gives me hope that we're going to be packing the theaters within a few months. Fingers crossed.
Absolutely, we all want that to happen ASAP. Sean Baker, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Truly appreciate it.